Alright, y'all, peace. This is Rhythm Phoenix, October the 31st, 2019. I have come across something that's like been tripping me out because for the past couple weeks I have been studying. Let me begin by telling you this. And first of all, I want to say that I share to all deceased relatives known and unknown. I share to all ancestors known and unknown. I share to all gods and goddesses within that work without for the goodness of self. Ashe to Prodigy of Mob Deep. The reason I say that is because of what I'm about to say is that for a while I hadn't been tapping into nobody's energy because some things had happened. I said, well, let me back away from this shit a little bit, and you know, Prodigy um, was very important to me coming up in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like what he say, his voice, everything about what he spit was what I was in tune to. Like I just commemorate his life. You know what I mean? Like he had a rough ass life when you think about it. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into his diseases and all that, his disease and all that, but he had a rough life. But anyway, I tapped into his energy. Okay, and what's going on is that the last album before the last album before the very last one, which I believe was Albert Einstein. The last one before that was called the Hegelian Dialectic, or the yeah, right. So the cover has the skeleton on it. Looks like the Fibonacci or the I think it's the Leonardo with the man spread out. Either Michelangelo or Leonardo, one of them. With the man spread out in a circle and shit. But it's a skeleton. It's a straight skeleton. It shows the chakras, and around it, the whole cover is very trippy. For instance, a lot of motherfuckers probably don't know, and I might be mistaken, but I know my motherfucker. I know my icons. Feel me? And on the cover of Prodigy's album, the Hegelian Dialect, I believe it's called Hegelian something, but if anything, it's the Hegelian Dialect. We'll go back to that. He has on the front one of the images. He has a tank, and he got the person standing in front of the tank. As we all know, we seen the tank. That the dude stopped. He had like a grocery bag or something with him a long time ago. I think it's called something Squares where it happened. Tiananmen Square. I don't even know. Some shit like that, right? And this became a symbol for human equality for peace, for just stopping the conflict of war. You feel me? It became a symbol, and on in a performance of the song, they don't really care about us, by Michael Jackson during a tour, I believe. He did this. He had a spot in the show where he stood in front of the tank. Now, unless I am mistaken, this is on the cover of Prodigy's album. Now, I don't know who gave him the rights to do that and to use that. It might have been done on a sneaky tip, you feel me? Because it's clearly Michael Jackson on the cover of Prodigy's album. He's in his his regular attire, especially when he does his shows. And he got the short hair. You feel me? It's him. It's Michael Jackson. He got his back turned, and he's to the tank, and he's facing the tank. The back is turned to us. But anyway, I tapped into Prodigy's energy, and he showed me that. He said, "Look at my cover, all that shit." He showed me all this, and I'm looking at, and I'm like, "Yo, this word Hegelian. I seen this word. I heard this word before. Where the fuck I get it from? Where the fuck did I hear this word?" So I go Google. But no. What I did is I go to, because I said I got a book about this. So I go into my book folder and I search for it. I go to the search bar. I type in the word Hegelian, and the first book that pops up is a book by Jim Keith. It's called Mind Control, World Control, something. The Encyclopedia, something. Right? It's by Jim Keith, and I go into the book. and then I go because I have a program. It's a PDF program, and I search for the word Hegelian in this book by Jim Keith. Okay, I search in the book, and lo and behold, the man whose last name is Hegel, or whatever the fuck. His name is Hegel. I forgot his first name, right? Then there's another guy named Wundt. These weird ass last names. You know what I mean? Wundt is his last name. But just to stick with Hegel, because Hegel is where you get the word Hegelian. Okay? And his philosophy on how the world should be is basically what is used by the elite to run the world and bring about which has been brought about, called the New World Order. We living in the shit right now. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. We are in the New World Order. We've been in the New World Order for a long time now. So, as I continue to read, and I'm studying this shit, and I say, oh, well, you know, and I'm into Tavistock, and I'm in it now. You know what I mean? So I'm studying this shit now, you know, and I realized not only am I reading about Tavistock, because this was written, I think, in the 90s or the 80s. I realized that, you know, the shit that's going on now with social media and shit, the Facebook, the Instagram and all that shit, it's all social experimenting, and Tavistock is a part of that shit. They the ones who run that shit. But anyway, this is all Prodigy energy coming to me, okay? And I'm just thanking Prodigy for this. You feel me? This is all a part of me going down the rabbit hole of this spell that's out now. If you are I'm a very spiritual motherfucker, so believe me or not, there's a spell going out. It's called nostalgia. This is the reason why there's so much retro shit going on. The word retro is for that to even come out motherfuckers' mouth in 2019. It's crazy. But we're referring to whether it's the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. But, you know, they're using the 80s shit a lot right now for some reason. And it's a nostalgic situation. And the 90s a little bit. So you as an individual, your spirit wants to go back. You know, it wants to take a trip down memory lane. But how it's doing it is doing it with like actuality. Like it's watching the videos, it's watching the movies from the 80s, it's listening to the 80s music. And on top of that, there's new shows, there's new music, there's new everything that's coming out that's utilized, new styles, new trends, the clothes and everything that's coming out that people are bringing back from the 80s. You know what I mean? And it's like the 80s is overlapping, is being overlapped by the early, this about to be 2020. So there's something going on, right? And that 2020 thing that deals with the whole thing with vision and shit too, that's symbolic as well. So you have to have a particular vision to understand what the fuck I'm talking about with that nostalgia shit. There is a curse going on. Everybody's in it. And so, because it's an experiment. So you have to know that you're in it, you know what I mean? To weave your way up out of it. Or to just, you know, see what the hell is going on. Because I'm in, you know, I've been in it. I've been listening to all the old music, all the old hip-hop music and shit. And at the same time, all kind of shit is coming out, right? Even people who are playing in 80s type shit is coming out with their own shows on their own because they've been a part of the nostalgia curse. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, back to the Hegelian dialect shit, which is basically a part of the philosophy that's running the world today, okay? There's a statement that is being said on page 14 of the book, Mind Control, World Control by Jim Keith, okay? Oh, no, I'm sorry, page 28. It's page 25 of the ebook, the PDF version. It says, Hegel was the originator of the theory of the dialectic, the idea that conflict determines history, okay? Now think about Prodigy, think about Mobb Deep, think about Havoc. Him and Havoc are like, you know, one body of this thing called Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep is an entity. You see what I mean? But anyway, according to Hegel, whatever, a force which is, this can be found in one of the last interviews that Prodigy did when he was referring to some videos that he was going to come out with, that he was shooting in these once used Illuminati society or powerful elite used to use these places to perform their rituals and shit in. We have to go back to the video, the actual title of the video, to find it, to see what he actually says. But please believe me, it is on YouTube, and you can find it for yourself. And he talks about how there is a force, and he's right on this, because we're dealing with Kabbalah and shit. And there's a force you can use for good or bad, right? And that is what plays out your destiny. You know what I mean? And so the thing is that the elite has utilized this force on a powerful level to manipulate the masses to control the world. You know what I mean? They don't have to put a gun to your head. They just put shit into your subconscious. You know, they fuck with your psyche. They basically tell you the psyche don't even exist. You're not even you. You are a fucking machine, right? And that's what and that you as a machine work for the state. And it is the state that is the true entity, that is the true self. You know what I mean? That's what it is, and that's dealing with the Hegelian dialectic and the philosophy of the Wundt, of WUNDT. This person, all right. He was a male as well. But to continue on what he was saying, according to Hegel, a force, in parentheses thesis, dictates its own opposing force, antithesis, in parentheses. These forces in conflict result in the creation of a third force, a synthesis. Out of this synthesis, the process begins again. Karl Marx, later revised the theory of the dialectic, insisting that only material events were relevant, and that the dialectic was inherent in matter, thus divorcing the idea from metaphysics, at least to his own satisfaction. Okay. From the theory of the dialectic comes the realization that the creation of conflicts can create determined outcomes or synthesis. Those who promote the New World Order again and again are seen to be using the theory of the Hegelian dialectic to bring it about. Excuse me. They are manipulating events, creating conflicts, creating wars, and destroying the lives of untold millions in the bargain. The New World Order is the desired synthesis. Okay, it is like the child of two entities that they worship, right? Which is the force of thesis that brings about the conflict that they have to control. They have the power to control because they are the ones who, the government and shit. So it's the chaos, it's the order out of chaos thing, okay? It's on their dollar bill, okay? So the New World Order is the desired synthesis. It's like the Christ child of it, okay? Of the controlling forces operant in the world today, okay? Naturally, the Hegelian system goes completely against the grain of most people, particularly in the West, who view the individual as the true sovereign, okay? Thus, the real enemies are not America versus the Soviets or the political left versus the right, but those who would manipulate the yin and yang of history. And then he says to return to Wundt, W-U-N-D-T, I don't know how he's saying the name. Like Marx, he maintained that unless a thing could be scientifically quantified, there was no point in considering it or including it as a factor in scientific investigation. This is dealing back to the soul, going back to the psyche. Okay. All psychological studies should be based upon physiology, body reactions. Okay, Wundt essentially redefined. I'm sorry, because that I don't know how to say that. I'm gonna have to YouTube the shit to get how to say that name. Essentially redefined psychological studies as studies of the brain and nervous system. Okay, and now the ancient mystics know that the nervous system is connected to the chakra system, okay? Samuel Wanwar is a person that you can go to. He has a book called Endocrinology and Criminology, okay? It's very eye-opening. So, Wundt, okay, so the nervous system, and redefine man as an animal without a soul, thus legitimizing, at least for his associates and their employers, the treating of man as such. You know what I mean? To treat us like animals. I can continue on and on reading. Okay, so this last sentence. This, no doubt, was a welcome rationalization for the controllers, who could now apply or happily slaughter whomever they pleased without fear of ultimate spiritual retribution or accounting. Now, this is basically to block out the psyche, to knock it out, and say it don't even exist, that you are a machine, that you work for the state, boom, 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 boom. Okay? And that's the way it is now. And this is in the book. This is everything, all this is being led to me, or led, or given to me, led by the spirit of Prodigy. Ashe, rest in peace. Okay? The ancient ancestors did this shit. They now a motherfucker will say, Luke, you what you're doing now is necromancy and shit like that. These are words that are utilized. The word necro and the word because it means darkness and it means black. So it relates to the word Negro as well. But I ain't gonna get into all that. Anyway, so now to connect this to metaphysics, which is what they do not want you to connect it with, right? Which everything comes from that which is beyond matter. So you come from that which is beyond matter. They want to just basically X your ass out. Mark, you don't exist. What exists is this machine that has to operate under a law called maritime law. Okay? A machine that has been that was lost at sea by somehow, some way, and has been found by a nation, and you become its property. Excuse me. And so now what I want to do is read to you from a book by Padma Ayon Prakasha. He is the author of the Christ Blueprint. It is called The 9 Eyes of Light, Ascension Keys from Egypt. One of the first books that I had ever bought when I was waking up. And, I don't know why, but for the past 2 weeks or so, something told me to look into your shadow, look into the shadow. And that's also because, other than things that I have no idea what, but one part is because of Bobby Hemmett. And Brother Panic, listening to Brother Panic's and his and Khadijah, his other half, listening to one of their most recent lectures on the gates of death or something like that, and then saying, well, study the shadow. Something telling me to study the shadow, and then I said, well, what is it do I have in my library? And this is one of the first books that I pulled out, because he has a whole section on the shadow. See, the 9 eyes of light are the 9 bodies of light that makes the human being, right? And these bodies, or 9 eyes of light, he don't use the word body because body is more intended to something of form and physicality. So the eyes of light are utilized for you to traverse the many different dimensions with those light bodies. All right. The shadow is man, it is so fucking deep that I don't know where to begin, because we can go to Carl Jung's works as well, and that's what we're going to do. The shadow. Man, oh man, oh man. Because the shadow is what was the fact when we go to the Gnostic text, called the Hammurabi, the library of I forgot I forgot the name. Anyway, the Gnostic text. Elaine Pagels is one of the books you can go to, the Gnostic Gospels, the reality of the rulers. We're talking about how the Archons created the world and how they raped Eve. But as the reader and the studier knows, Eve was not raped. Her shadow was raped. Okay? And it was raped in the form of a tree, or in the form of a shadow of a tree. Okay? The shadow, that shadow's essence was what that was left over from Eve leaving is a part of what we are made of, as well as the essence of Eve, or life, the life essence itself. Okay, that's why nature and life is intertwined so much. So you know, it's so much intertwined. I don't know, you know, it's amazing how life and nature are like one and the same. However, nature has forces that can be harnessed for good or bad. Okay, and that's what happened to the reality of the rulers. They are utilizing forces to create the reality from our soul, from our light, because they don't have it. See, and these are the same entities that are spread throughout the religions that people have been worshiping, the angels that people are praying to and worshiping and shit, man. And that's the trap. The shadow is what we have within us, which gives us the ability, it has keys that gives us the ability to face this shit. Because why? Because it seems to me that it is the shadow that has been I guess chained. I don't know how to explain it. The New World Order has harnessed the ways to fuck you up through your shadow body by creating an entity as the New World Elite, and the entity itself having a shadow. All right, the shadow being the antithesis, which is the conflict that creates the triangle of synthesis, which is the apex of the triangle. It is the sun of it all. It is the bin stone of it all. It is there. You know, we have a philosopher's stone, and they have this physiological stone that they utilize to create the world through our philosophical stone, through our Christ energy. It is like the Prometheus story. They have chained us to the rock of matter and have been torturing us and utilizing our energy to create the fucking world around us. And us walking around being, I'm proud to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm free. We think we're free and shit. We're not free. You know, we're in the Matrix. Okay? So, the whole section of the book on dealing with the shadow, he calls the shu. The ancient Egyptians called it the shu. In this book, The Nine Eyes of Light, by Padma Ayon Prakasha, and he has a section about him, it's an autobiography in here about himself. Seems like a very amazing person. The shadow is the Satan of your individuality, of your life. Okay, it has been externalized into this Satan in the religions, whether that's Satan, the adversary, or the Muslim, whatever, and the Jesus, right, or the savior of any other religion, Buddha or the Christians or whatever, is the Christ energy, seed, soul of you that has been externalized for you to worship. But it is the Christ energy that is the light that is within you, that is the soul, and the Satan is the shadow that is within you, that is another aspect of your power, believe it or not, that you supposed to harness. It's the whole thing about the get thee behind me, Satan. It's the whole thing about I got eyes in the back of my head. It's the whole thing about watch my back, son. You know what I mean? The hidden sun, the shadow, man. So, and inside, it is the shadow and the Christ energy, or the shadow and the aspect of individuality that is you, that is fighting to always be in position of this human body. If you don't have the ability to harness your own shadow, then guess what? The New World Order has the ability to do it, without you even fucking knowing, and everything else. Okay? And this book, dealing with the esoteric aspect of it, is called is called the trine of the shadow, or the triangle of the shadow. The antithesis, the thesis, the synthesis. Okay? He says in one paragraph that one has to separate in order to unite. Order out of chaos, okay? And in the alchemy of the 9 bodies, one has to separate the shadow so it can be seen and worked with in its world. In its world, one discovers what drives it, for this world is run through your subconscious processes. The subconscious processes is the place where they are continuously attacking you at. Okay? Well, this is where the shadow dances and shit. This is where the shadow body is. So, in separating and contemplating the different bodies, which is what the secret elite do to you, okay? And then what is what you're supposed to be doing for yourself, to ascend yourself, to bring yourself to higher levels of consciousness. Okay? And in synthesizing and consolidating them, we create a pyramid. This is the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. This is the pyramid of the antithesis, thesis, synthesis. This is the pyramid, which is the symbolic aspect of what you are as the monad, the symbol of your glory. Thesis plus antithesis equals synthesis. The same shit they talking about in the Hegelian Dialectic. Okay? The same shit that I was being shown to by the spirit of Prodigy, even though deep down somewhere inside my research has brought me here in the first. I wouldn't have had the book in my laptop in the first damn place. So I had the book in my laptop. It's been in my subconscious realm. Fucking trying to, fucking with me, dancing around like, yo, bring this shit out to you, man. We got to bring this shit out face to face. We got to face this shit. And it popped out, right? And me on my level, I'm like, wow, this is crazy, because this is what's keeping us from our awakening processes. You know what I'm saying? This shit is fucked up, man. I don't know how else to put it. They say the soul, they black out the soul. They say the soul don't even fucking exist. They turn you into a machine. They externalize the inner conflict of the individuality, of the psyche, of man, which that you're born with. The Heru Set shit that the ancient Egyptians talked about. The Heru and Set. Alright? Shit, man. They don't want you to conquer your lower passions, your lower self. They want to conquer that shit and let it work for them. While your higher self is to be non-believed in. Only believe in the religions that are externalized out here in the world. Only believe in that shit. Don't believe in nothing higher within yourself that you can worship within yourself, which is really leading to unconditional love from within, not from without, but coming outward from within. And that's how the world is created. But it don't happen that way because they creating the world from you, for them. Okay? Through this fucking Hegelian dialectic shit. Okay? Prodigy got a song called Skull and Bones. He wrote that shit, I think, when he was locked up. And it was one of the last freestyle verses that was spit in the basement on Rap City, the show Rap City, before they was shut down. And new motherfuckers took over. It's all a fucking game. It's not a conspiracy. It's all factual shit that has happened that we just can't get the extreme direct documentations of. You know what I mean? Like the actual people writing that did it, saying we're gonna have to do it. We just have to focus on our third eye energy and shit, right? And have, I guess, faith in that. They create the mountains. We move the mountains with the faith. But that don't exist, right? The mountain is still there, right? For them, shit. So, just one more part here, because the thing is that. So here, back to the book. I'm sorry, back to the book, page 96. Mutually opposing forces. All right, this is the Heru Set shit. unite precisely because they have been separated. Okay, they have been separated because you have been born, you have been incarnated into this physical reality. So and then that goes in. It goes in as well with the zodiac signs and the planets, and how that is used to manipulate your emotions and shit. And they can come back together again. Hence the 2012 shit. Because they are known and brought into consciousness, conscious differentiation. As Jung says, and Carl Jung, is one of the people that his information has been utilized by the CIA government and all that shit, helped them bring forth the New Age movement and all that shit, right? The hippie movement and all that. That's all CIA shit, man. Okay, as Jung says, this task entails the most painstaking self-examination and self-education. Okay, on the other side, no. According to the Mind Control book by Jim Keith, no, that you don't even exist. You don't exist. So the examination, the education is going to come from the public school system and the quote unquote psychiatrists that they create from their universities, giving them their degrees and shit. That's where it comes from. It can't come from you going in this shit on your own and becoming your own doctor, your own guru, your own practitioner, your own psychiatrist. No. You can't do it. You're a machine. That's according to mind control theory. According to the author of this book, who he has a bunch of information about himself in the back of the book. He's a passionate, enlightening. He's a writer. He's a teacher. He leads workshops around the world and has led pilgrimages to sacred sites in more than 15 countries. The information is there. Okay, so the process of psychological differentiation is no light work. Okay, it needs the tenacity and patience of the alchemist, who must purify the body from all superfluities in the fiercest heat of the furnace. You know what I mean? That's Hell's Kitchen. Feel me? That's ghetto. That's the hood. That's ghetto life. That's the life that most niggas live in the world today. But I was gonna say, what was Prodigy's illest producer's name, other than Havoc? We know because Havoc is a part of him. It's a part of the group. So I'm not. It was Alchemist. It was the Alchemist. Was there any jealousy between the Alchemist and Havoc? Because, one person might say maybe Alchemist, being such a fan of the Mobb Deep, was influenced by Havoc. Well, that might be so. But Alchemy, just like the rest of the producers, got his own thing. Okay? And they accepted him with open arms. Okay? He amped up their career. If anything, Prodigies. You feel me? So, just to, like he says in one part, page 94, Shu, the shadow, acts as our protector, ensuring that others' shadows do not encroach onto us. As Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," to the shadow. He did not abandon or dissolve it. Okay? He used it to get his back, to protect him and his light. That's what niggas say. Watch my back. Watch my back. You know what I mean? And you calling him son. Not son like as somebody lower than you. You feel me? This is in our language, in our slang. That we, like the word yo. Niggas say yo, especially every time they rap and they say yo. The word yo is an ancient name for God. And it's combined with the letters I and O. Okay? The numbers 1 and the supposed number 0. Okay? 1 come from 0. So, boom. You. Feel me? I can go on and on and on. So, my whole thing was to show you that there's an intertwinement. Excuse me. They know about the inner battle that every soul has. They say in order for us to control society, we have to deny that the soul exists. And to come about this reality in a whole different, it's a new world order. It's not just dealing with the government of America and shit, man. It's everything controlling, it's everyone controlling everything. Everyone in the elite, in the power elite, whether that's in Britain, Canada, Africa, India, America, wherever the fuck it's at. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. They spread it a long time ago. Okay? And they spread like diseases and parasites. Because it's all about making diseasements of the body. Of everybody. Of everybody. Alright? So, what we want to do is we want to study Mind Control by Jim Keith, the book. Okay? We want to study everything that Prodigy said when he talked about the Illuminati and shit. Right? We want to study the side of it that shows us about the ancient Egyptians' viewpoint of the inner conflict of the soul. The symbols being Horus and Set, or Heru and Set. However, Set is derived from the most ancient god that is known to esoteric and exoteric religions by the name of Sut. But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go, reflect upon the inner monad, because that is what they want to control. Me speaking the way I'm speaking is not supposed to be even being done by now, right now. And if in the fact that it's being done, let you know that I'm a soldier and I roll with soldiers, man. And all the books that I read, these are written by spiritual soldiers who are battling in the war, the psychological war front. All right, the war that will never be seen, that is not to be seen. It's an invisible war. This shit will not be televised. You know what I mean? Hey yo, that's it, man. Just want to say Ashe, peace, Hotep.